Good day, Bear Nation. I just wanted to talk to you for a second about some of the changes you're going to see when you come back to school here in a couple weeks. You'll see the preview of each of the different levels and what school is going to look like. So we thank you for taking the time to check it out. Obviously, as you know, safety is our #1 priority, so we want to just kind of go through what a school day is going to look like.
Hello, I'm Dr. Flannery, Assistant Superintendent for the Mannheim Central School District. On August 17th, the Pennsylvania Department of Education released information to schools from the Department of Health requiring staff and students to wear face coverings at all times. This no longer allows us to remove face coverings when socially distanced by 6 feet. While face coverings will now be worn for the majority of the school day, learners will be able to remove their face masks when eating or drinking and separated by 6 feet. During face covering breaks that last no longer than 10 minutes, or when wearing a face covering creates an unsafe condition. When thinking about a typical school day, face coverings will then be removed during lunch, parts of physical education and recess, and at scheduled mask breaks throughout the day. As future updates are announced, we will be sure to share them with you.
There are some important things to remember before you even leave your house. If you have a fever of 100.4 or higher, have a cough, sore throat, shortness of breath, diarrhea, chills, or have difficulty breathing, these are signs that you should stay home from school. If you or someone in your immediate family have been in close contact with someone who tested positive for coronavirus, please call your school nurse or your doctor for guidance on what to do next. While we want you here, we also want to ensure your safety and the safety of those around you.
Hi, my name is Barbara Spees. I am Transportation Specialist for Mannheim Central School District. We would like to highlight 5 points in our Transportation Safety and Health Plan. First, we will be mandating masks or face shields on the bus. Please make sure your learner has their face mask or shield and when they arrive at the bus stop. We will be providing extra disposable masks on the bus if needed. Secondly, we will be running our buses as normal as we can. With that being said, social distancing will not occur on every bus, but we will do our best to social distance as much as possible. Thirdly, we will be keeping the first row of seats open to maintain social distancing from the bus driver. Next, we will be disinfecting our buses daily. And our last point is we will keep windows partially down throughout the trip to maintain airflow. So please have your learners dressed accordingly for the weather. If you are a parent who will be driving their learner, parent pickup may change at each building. Please watch for communication from your building principal.
Hello, Mannheim Central High School parents, guardians, and learners. We are excited to return to learning and look forward to the upcoming school year. We all understand this school year will be different as we continue to navigate education during a pandemic. And while there is certainly not what we are used to doing, we can work together to make this a safe, successful, and enjoyable school year. To this end, we have created this video overview to communicate many of the changes that will occur as we look toward returning to the building. The purpose of this video is to share these details so all families can best prepare for how school will operate. The driving force for these safety measures enacted by the school, which were reviewed with you today, originated from the Health and Safety Plan adopted by the school board on July 27th. Please note, all of these changes are as of August 10th, and over the next 21 days as we look forward to starting school, things may continue to evolve. And in those changes, we will communicate those through writing in our weekly updates. In planning for this school year, I think it is important to highlight factors that will contribute to a successful year. There are many unknowns and many situations we will have to work through together as a school community. Please keep in mind, we are a school community and we share a common goal of returning to learning in the safest manner possible. Communication will be critical. When we think about communication, this is shown through respect to one another and recognizing that we may not always enter a conversation with the same amount of information. Thus, it is important to remain calm and communicate clearly. We will work to find solutions. The other important consideration is the recognition that this virus is real and impacts people in different ways. As a school community, we have multi-generational families, families who care for elderly folks, and those who have other health concerns. These factors impact their behaviors, and it is important for our entire community to demonstrate respect for everyone's unique circumstances. Lastly, strong communities come together in times of need. This is certainly one of those times, and Manheim Central represents the best of what it means to rally behind one another during difficult times. This school year will be another opportunity for us to lead the way on how to return to school. I'd like to talk about some general safety measures. Before providing an overview of the day, it is important to highlight some of these general safety measures. All persons will be required to wear a mask, face covering, when in the building. This means face coverings will be required upon arrival to school, during transition times in the hallways, during instruction time, in the cafeteria when you are not eating, and at dismissal. As such, we expect students to arrive to school each day with the face covering that covers their nose and mouth. We will be cleaning desks before the start of each class and are looking to minimize the need to share classroom supplies and materials. Classroom materials that will need to be shared will be sanitized following the protocol of our health and safety plan. Additionally, hand sanitation stations will be located throughout the building and each of the classrooms as well as the cafeteria. We encourage students to sanitize their hands upon entry and dismissal of each class as well as when they're entering and exiting the cafeteria. One of the most frequent concerns expressed to the high school regarding these safety measures concerning the lack of climate control at the high school. The district is aware of this concern. To this end, we are working with class locations and sizes to best maximize space to allow for social distancing during the school day. The major action step by the district is to monitor the heat index, and we have set a predetermined threshold of temperature and relative humidity. Based on this data, the high school will either release early or not hold in-person instruction for students. Our plan, when possible, is to communicate these details in advance to allow families planning time. As we start the school day, all students will proceed to a temperature checkpoint. At the temperature checkpoint, a staff member will conduct a quick temperature reading. Students who do not have a fever will proceed to a designated area. Anyone with a fever will be escorted to the nurse for further screening of symptoms. When waiting in line to get your temperature checked, we encourage you to maintain that 6 feet of social distancing until you're up and your temperature is checked for the day. After receiving a temperature check, students who eat breakfast can proceed to the cafeteria to retrieve their breakfast and then move to their Block 1 classroom. To start the school day, students will not be permitted to congregate in the lobby or the cafeteria. In terms of an overview of the school day will occur mostly as the same as it has in the past with Blocks 1, 2, 3, and 4. The one major change is that we will not have a homeroom or enrichment at the end of the day. We will increase the transition time between classes. This will work as follows. We will have 2 dismissal groups and staggered dismissal times to decrease the total number of students in the hallway. As such, a group A, which will be the north side of each hallway, will dismiss at the first dismissal bell, and then will have 4 minutes to travel to their next class. During this time, please proceed directly to your next class. You can stop at your locker. Once you arrive at your destination, you will either enter the classroom if that classroom is empty, or if it is occupied, wait in the designated area. After 4 minutes, we will dismiss Group B, which will be the south side classrooms, and these students will have 4 minutes to travel to their next class. During transitional times, we want to make sure that we are walking on the right side of the hallway and not congregating. We encourage you to converse with your friends, but remember, all students will be expected to be wearing a face covering, which must cover your nose and mouth, and working to maintain personal space with others in the hallways. Students will be required to wear a face covering that covers their nose and their mouth. Teachers will communicate these expectations to our learners. Teachers will establish their traffic patterns for within classroom transitions, and teachers will organize times to allow for face covering breaks to give students a reprieve from the classroom. When possible, we will be limiting the amount of sharing that is occurring of instructional materials. For example, some of our classes do not permit us to limit sharing, such as materials in production. In this situation, we will expect students to sanitize their hands more frequently. In other situations, we will be limiting their sharing of materials. Just as before, our teachers will develop their own procedures for bathroom and water fountain use. Water fountains will only be available for filling of water bottles, so we recommend that students come prepared to school with a water bottle each day. In terms of lunches, students will be dismissed from their third block class to the cafeteria in 2 waves. This staggered start is intended to manage crowd sizes. As students enter the caf, they will be expected to sanitize their hands and then proceed towards the serving line. Students will select their meal options and then proceed to the seating area. Seating will occur in 2 areas, the wrestling room and the cafeteria. Students will be seated 3 to a table to maximize social distancing and will be permitted to remove their face coverings once they are seated and eating. Students will not be permitted to move the chairs in the cafeteria. Anytime a student is not seated, face coverings will be required. Students that are electing to pack their lunches can proceed directly to the wrestling room for their lunch. Dismissal will occur in 2 waves. First, anyone who walks or drives to school will be dismissed first, followed by our bus riders. At dismissal, students are expected to exit the building promptly. The building will officially close at 3:05 each day. We hope that you have found this video informative as you prepare for school on August 31st. The 31st is fast approaching, and the high school will continue to share weekly updates through email. If you are not receiving these weekly communications, please contact the school and we will update your information. Going forward, we will continue with our weekly updates through the Blackboard email system. If you have questions, please reach out to the high school and we'll get back to you with answers. Thank you, and we look forward to a tremendous school year.